Welcome to Daytrippin. We are in Richmond, Indiana.
Yeah, Richmond is about an hour east of Indianapolis. It's right on the Ohio border.
The Richmond area is filled with nice small communities, and you also have the nice downtown feel in Richmond. A lot of revitalization happening and new businesses, and it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, there's lots of different areas that we'll touch on in this show that aren't just in Richmond directly, lots of little communities. And that's really the theme for our show today, is that this area has a little bit of everything. The Richmond and Wayne County area is located right on the Indiana-Ohio border. There's a rich history all throughout the county with something notable in most of the local communities, from the Huddleston House in Cambridge City on the western border to the heart of the county with a train depot dating back to 1902, and then north to a small town called Fountain City. One of the most prominent historical places in Wayne County sits right here in Fountain City. It's this big brick structure, and it's on the National Historical Landmarks. It's the Levi Coffin House.
Well, Levi Coffin, being a North Carolina Quaker, grew up seeing the horrors of slavery because he was living in a slavery state, but yet his Quaker background, they did not believe in slavery. He says, you know, he was very well aware that Quakerism and slavery could not coexist. The back stairway here is very narrow. They didn't want to use up much space. They were frugal with the space. And this room is kind of unique because of the sloping roof line. From the outside of the house, it looks like a regular two-story section. But with the sloping roof line that goes right on down to the outer brick wall, forms an area that's about 4 feet deep, but does go the entire length of the room. If they thought the house was going to be searched, they could crawl in there, close the little door, and we always point out the height of the bed that we have sitting here. Maybe a washstand, something like that, that they pull over in front and completely conceal the fact that it's there. And this, of course, we believe is the bedroom that Levi and Catherine would have used with the trundle bed that could be pulled out. Some of the children, of course, would have shared this room with them. The main stairway, quite different from the back stairway.
It's very grand.
Very grand. This is the interior stairway to the kitchen in the basement. There's also an exterior stairway as well. Very interesting stairway, again, very frugal with space. It was very unusual to have the kitchen in the basement like this. Very convenient, we think, for Levi and Catherine. So evidently, Levi knew he had one of the springs on the property. And so the spring-fed well is right down here in the basement of the house, and we think that's why Levi chose to put the kitchen down here, is because the water was so convenient. The well is 4 feet deep. The bricks lining the well are not mortared, and so the water would just simply flow in around, and the little trough was to carry the overflow away. And a lot of people don't realize that, in fact, the water is right to the top.
It definitely looks a lot deeper.
Yeah. And it's very cold water. And I always tell our visitors, I think Catherine thought she had it made. She had indoor water. It's very cold,
yeah,
isn't it?
It's very cold.
See that it's made with the ledge on either side. Those are just individual boards going across with the ends resting on the ledge. They could put as many boards on as they needed. The runaway slaves would crawl in, lie down on the straw. As I said, put as many boards on as they needed. On top, pile full of sacks of grain, and it could go down the road, and anybody seeing it pass by, hopefully, would not realize that it had the false bottom and that the runaway slaves were hiding underneath. You know, I think the sheer numbers of people that Levi was able to help, the runaways, as he estimated 100 per year for the years they lived here in Newport, is one of the reasons why Levi was fairly well known. But I think the significance of Levi is the fact that He just simply represents those hundreds of other people just like him, whose names we'll never know, but we're doing the very same thing.
Well, Nathan Janus was telling me inside just about all the people from different areas of the country that really like to come and bring their school groups or bring their families and tour the history that sits right here in Fountain City. And as you drive down US 27, you really can see how important Levi Coffin House was and how prominent it was.
And it's amazing to have such a historic landmark right here in Indiana, in the crossroads of America. We had the National Road coming through, and it just intersected with the Underground Railroad, everyone heading north, and it just came right in this spot.
Yeah, if you look at a map, you kind of see a cross where US 27 or the old Michigan Road and the National Road kind of intersect right in the Wayne County area. It really makes for this whole historical hubbub that happens around here. And the Levi Coffin has special hours through the summer. You can find all that information on their website and get all the ways to come tour for yourself.
Coming up on Daytrippin, we head to downtown Richmond and to the historic Depot District, so stick around. Welcome back to Daytrippin. We've headed just south of Fountain City and we're now in Richmond.
Yeah, and we're standing in the Gannett Records Historical Site. You can see some of the old buildings around us. They're not in function right now. They're just the remnants of what's left, but it's really a cool place to come and really experience history.
And back when Gannett Records was recording in the area, they had artists like Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Jelly Roll Morton, and you can actually see all the names of the people they worked with on the Walk of Fame just right off the side here.
Yeah, and you can really see all of the neat buildings that are left. There's a gorge trail that's nearby. It's just a really nice place to come. And the Gannett Records story is just one of the unique stories that Richmond has to tell.
Deemed the birthplace of recorded jazz by some of the most well-known jazz musicians, Richmond was home to Gannett Records and the Star Piano Factory. Founded in the late 1800s, the Star Piano Factory was once believed to be the largest piano manufacturer in the world. With the success of the Piano Factory, its own recording studio was born. Later renamed Gannett Records, the studio was a place where many of the jazz greats first recorded. Now, what's left of the factories is used to celebrate the city's rich jazz history.
Much like the Star Gannett story, the Richmond community has embraced its role in revitalizing its historic roots. Though the downtown area feels more contemporary, it's home to some of the classic mainstays, including Beach's Toy Station, that's been family-owned since 1938. We headed just north of downtown to an area that's keeping its classic architecture while drawing new business.
One of the revitalized areas of Richmond is right here in the Depot District.
And as we're walking along now, you see coffee shops and restaurants and nice little nooks and bookstores. It's just kind of like a cool area. But originally, this was all part of the Pennsylvania Railroad Station.
So this is the third station that's built on this site. 22 presidents have been through this site and through this depot. This building was, for the time, was the Taj Mahal.
If there's anything you want to know about the Pennsylvania Railroad Depot, Roger Richard is your guy. He owns one of the first revitalized buildings in the district, the Richmond Furniture Gallery, and has had a hand in taking this old depot and making it new again.
This is the 1902 Pennsylvania Train Depot. It was built by Daniel Burnham, which was America's foremost architect, and he at one time had the largest building in the world and the tallest building in the world. It sat empty for 40 years, and when we bought it, there was every piece of wood in here was collapsed. The ceilings were coming down. There were no floors. Right where you're standing was just barren to the dirt. It was amazing that the walls had even stood, but because he was the father of skyscrapers, he put a lot of steel in the building, so the superstructure itself, the skeleton was here. Everything's been redone to the building. It's going to be a new building in an old shell, so it's exciting. We want people to be proud of history, and the only way you're going to save things is to find adaptive reuse. You're not going to use this as a train station ever again because there's not passenger service. You've got to find something that'll go in here, something that'll work, something that'll give vibrancy to the community, and that's what this is all about.
Nathan, the inside of that depot building is so beautiful. It's really neat to see all the history coming through the walls.
And it has such a grandiose feeling. They're going to be able to fit more than 500 people in there. It's going to be just an amazing space.
It's really going to be a neat place for Richmond and for the Indiana area just to come and really enjoy the hub of what the Pennsylvania Rail Station used to be.
Yep, and when we come back, we're going to see more of the Depot District right here in Richmond, Indiana, so stick around.
Welcome back to Daytrippin. We're still here in the historic Depot District area in downtown Richmond.
We just got to see some of the transitional phases that are happening to the depot, but the Depot District is filled with buildings that a lot of them have already been renovated.
Yeah, you can see some of them behind us. There's all sorts of different little places to come that were once abandoned and now are flourishing businesses.
Yeah, bookstores, coffee shops, restaurants, all kinds of things that you can just walk through.
It's all part of a revitalization, taking what's old and making it into a thriving community. Right on Fort Wayne Avenue is the large Richmond Furniture Gallery, the place that started it all. With 3 floors full of nostalgia and, of course, furniture, the gallery is a great place to go if you want to see the grandness of some of these old buildings. You could spend hours in here.
Just across the street, you'll find a quaint bookstore that caters to all genres. Taste some great coffee in a coffee bar and tap room, another great spot if you want to see the bare bones that once held up the depot area. And of course, there is some great food. A sandwich shop, the local favorite. An old warehouse turned into a chocolatier. And a pizza joint, along with many other local spots.
On the outside of these buildings are murals, colorful representations of the area's rich history.
And you can't hit up the depot area without stopping for some great barbecue. Firehouse Barbecue and Blues is just that, an old firehouse turned into a barbecue joint. I got a personal tour.
The firehouse here is the oldest existing firehouse in Richmond. And the fire service in Richmond has a long history, started in 1880 with 4 separate volunteer fire companies. This one was called the Mechanic Steam Fire Company, and they were housed here. They used this firehouse up until about 1930. I think they mechanized around 1920, so there was a truck in here at one time. If we walk back here, where the stage is now, and in this area there are actually 3 horse stalls. So they had the horses housed here too, and I've been on the fire department for 18 years. A lot of the guys will come in, and these guys, they'll come in and they'll say, hey, I got my old coat, it's just hanging around the garage or whatever, and we're just like, yeah, bring them in, and we'll hang them up, and so we think that's a cool thing. So we got a few of those, and a lot of old pictures and memorabilia and stuff like that we, are proud to display. We just wanted to make it unique and cool, and something. I don't know about you, but when I go into a city, I want to go to like a local place, that's different.
Is there any certain bent on the barbecue, a certain area that it's from, or?
Man, it's just Midwestern. We want to stay barbecue. That's what we do. We're not trying to be everything to everybody, but if you want, good barbecue, you can come to the firehouse.
Regardless of where the barbecue comes from, what really matters is how it tastes. Well, now that we've gotten to see the building, what better than to try the food?
I am very excited, Nathan. I don't know what you got. I got the pulled pork. That kind of seems like a staple at a barbecue place, so I have lots of different options for my sauce. So I'm gonna go safe and go with the mild. You go ahead and do your hotter, spicier food. Okay, so now I get to try it. It's probably gonna be messy.
It's the best way to have barbecue.
Everywhere.
Here. You're gonna need a napkin for this one.
It's very good. It's very juicy and tender.
One of the things I like to try, you like the pulled pork, I like trying chicken, barbecue chicken almost anywhere that's a barbecue place. But today, even though this looks delicious, I saw on the menu a Inferno, which is a firehouse special. And this actually has ghost pepper cheese sauce on it.
And that's all you
So
know.
that's a pretty hot pepper. Used to be the hottest pepper. So we're just gonna try a little bite of this. I don't need the hot sauce to add to it.
It's gonna be really
We're gonna
messy.
see what this is like. It's all gonna be messy. That makes it good.
It's a little hot.
Wait for it. Let's see here. That's warming up. Definitely would say not for anyone who doesn't like spicy food, that's for sure. Very good though. Stephanie, we just got to enjoy a wonderful lunch. Great barbecue right where the horses used to eat.
Well, it's a great historical place, and as you are eating, you can look around at all the pictures, and it's really a nostalgic atmosphere.
And it's a great place to stop in for the local feel. It's not your typical chain restaurant. It's designed to just really encompass what this area is about now.
Yeah, and as we come back from Daytrippin, we will head to Cambridge City, Indiana, and check out some great antiques. Well, welcome back to Daytrippin. We have traveled west from Richmond on the Old National Road to a quaint little community called Cambridge City.
And the Old National Road traveling right through the city means it brings a lot of history and tradition and also a lot of antiques.
Yeah, we talked a little earlier on the show about how so many main historical roads go through the Richmond area, and the Old National Road is one of those. And along with the antiques comes a lot of history and architecture that just adds to this eclectic community.
Cambridge is a historical town that's been here since 1836, and there's lots of architecture and history. It's the home of Overbeck pottery and Single G, the famous pacer, and there's just a lot of rich history and a lot of people who are passionate about it in our area. The Huddleston Farmhouse is one of our main attractions as far as history, and the Vinton House is a hotel where Abraham Lincoln actually stayed once. And just driving through town, you can see all the architecture of some of the houses. And we used to have a canal that ran from Cincinnati, and that was a major part of transportation besides the National Road. The National Road was the first road that went across the country. So it was like the main artery of travel, and it connected with railroads and canals all across the country. Probably the main reason people come to Cambridge now is because of antiques, because there's so many all in one place.
Beth Leisure is the president of the Cambridge City Chamber of Commerce and certainly loves talking about her community. But her real passion sits on Main Street. She owns the first antique shop to open in town in 1998.
We bought the building with my husband's parents, and they were into antiques, so they kind of got us into it. We just decided to be a great thing to open, and had no idea how it would flourish. There's kind of something for everybody in here because we have primitives, we have retro 50s, 60s, 70s things, and there's quilts and linens, there's jewelry.
Very vintage.
There's all kinds of things.
What drives people to come and get baby pictures? That's what I'm really interested in.
People use those to decorate with. They use them in all kind of mixed media art projects.
Have you ever had somebody come in and say, "This is my relative, I've been looking for this
A
picture."
few times.
Really? Did you find your family?
Yeah, right there. Great grandpa.
Looks just like it.
I'll work on that mustache.
Is it me? I feel very wealthy.
We've got people who come from different states, like once a month. They come just to buy to take other places and sell because this area has a reputation for really good prices on things. So
So this is the place to come.
This is
if
the
you
place
want.
to come.
You know, Nathan, as we wrap up here in Cambridge City, I am kind of sad that we are done. There were so many cool and interesting, fun places in the Richmond area. I'd love to visit here again soon.
Yeah, you could easily spend a lot of time just walking around, stopping in all the different unique shops, whether it's bookstores, coffee shops, antiques, all kinds of different interesting things in the Depot District, in Cambridge City, all over.
Yeah, all the history places. We had some really good barbecue. And those are just a handful of the places that you can find when you come to the Depot area, when you come to the Richmond area, when you come to these little communities outside of the area. There's really a lot to offer here.
And again, with the barbecue, I gotta just mention that again, because getting a local food joint is just usually a very amazing experience, because you know there's been a lot of love put into that preparation, and we definitely enjoyed it thoroughly.
Nathan's going to be dreaming of barbecue for a long time, I think. Well, if you would like for us to come and feature your city or town, you can reach us on Facebook and Twitter at WIWU-TV. Send us all of the information on the cool little spots in your community, the hole-in-the-wall places that maybe we wouldn't find if we just came, and we can't wait to feature some more places.
Yeah, we want to see it all. We want to see the fun spots, the educational spots, the historical sites,
The food spots.
and then more food spots, definitely.
Yeah, well, and we want something for all ages too, and that's what we love to do here at Daytrippin, and the Richmond area Daytrippin featured something for every age, and that is what we love.
Well, that's it for this show. Make sure you join us next time as we visit another place that's just a day trip away.
So long.